Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to this Secrets of Success Outbox Obesity episode, where we share expert solutions that serve your personal and professional life. I'm your host, Christine Love, and today our special guest is the wellness goddess, Wendy Jaroslawski. Welcome to the show, Wendy.
Welcome, Christine.
So glad you were able to fit us into your schedule because as a health and wellness coach, I know that you can give us some insight to people who are struggling with obesity. So before we get started, I just want to know, what is your background? What is the journey that led you to what you're doing today?
Well, part of it is my own personal journey. Several years ago, I weighed 30 pounds more than I do now. I was pre-diabetic. So it was my doctor's advice at that time to shed some of the weight, and I was able to do that. And I've basically felt a lot healthier since then. And then I also became certified as a health coach as part of the journey.
So can you tell me, what is your intention for what you do? Why would you say that someone might just want to be open to your practice?
Okay, well, what I do is I don't deal with using supplements to lose your weight. There's so many of these programs here. Eat our foods and you'll lose all this weight. And it's not teaching you how to eat, so that when you start shopping for your own foods, you don't know what you're doing. And I find that happens so frequently. In fact, I tried one of those, and it didn't work for me. I ended up putting everything back on. What I've discovered is best for all of us is that we learn how to shop for the foods that are appropriate and go from there, so that when we learn the habits of, well, this is the way I should be eating, this is the way I can handle it, and finding out that this is what works for me, and it works for other people too.
What do you mean by foods that are appropriate? Do you have a particular guide that you go by?
What I do is that I find out, what do you like to eat? What kind of foods are you eating now? What do you want to do? So that, say you're a vegetarian, then I can work with that. So that, or you like a certain type of food, you like a lot of meat, then I work with that to help you find a meal plan that works with how you like to eat, but yet still maintain a healthy diet and get some weight loss going on.
So it's a process that's customized to the individual.
Yes.
And is this an integrated approach, or is your focus solely on the foods that are consumed?
Some of it's that, and a lot of times I know that eating is an emotional thing, so that I make myself available to people so that they can call me, text me, say, well, can I have this? Can I have that? Because it's so often that the response to eating is, oh, I really feel like I want this, but I know I shouldn't have it. What can I substitute for it? So I give you ideas of other things that will work to satisfy that feeling you have, yet not put more weight on.
When you're having this food experience discussion, are you of the mindset that a calorie is a calorie, or do you make distinctions based on the type of food?
Distinctions on the type of food, because there's what they call empty calories, and then there's healthy calories. Like eating a cookie is empty calories, but eating a piece of fruit is healthy calories. Basically what I do is I teach you how to make changes to how you approach what you put in your mouth.
Can you give me a real-world example of someone you've actually worked with, and they're beyond the struggle? Like this is the last time they're going to give it, they're going to try it with you because perhaps there was a referral, perhaps they saw something on your website that triggered something in them, but they're just really frustrated and down and out. Can you give me a real-world example of what someone would experience when they first come in after they've been working the process a few months?
Well, I have a current client right now that is coming to me because he weighs over 400 pounds. And he's come to the realization that if he doesn't do something now, he may not see many more years. And he wants a family. To him, it became a realization that I've got to do something now. So we're working constantly as to changing how he eats, and then also working on developing a support system, because he lives with several other guys and also has a job where they're constantly on the go.
That does seem like it would be a big obstacle. If someone comes from, let's just say, traditionally a big family, they have a sedentary job, there's always donuts on the counter, where they're pretty much in an environment that isn't real health conscious 24/7. Like, do they need to isolate or minimize their time in those type of situations? You mentioned a support system. What does that look like so that they can have a balance outside of what is their norm?
What I do is I make myself available through text messaging so that I'm struggling. I really want to do this. So I know, okay, I've got to get a hold of them now and say, try this, so that they're constant, so that they've got someone to talk to while they're struggling. One night I got a call, and, I really want some chocolate. If you really, really have to have it, here's what I recommend. And they were able to get through it. They had to go to a store and buy it, so they were able to get through that urge and deal with it.
Sounds like you've extended your coaching practice into a real advocacy where you're really connected to your clients. Is that a significant difference between someone who perhaps goes in, has a chat, and then gets some instructions and comes in weekly, like with you, where they have an ongoing connection where they can pick up the phone if they need to?
A lot of times, eating becomes emotional or stress-related. So I want to be there because I know that it's difficult to do it all on your own. Yes, I've got this food plan. I get to talk to them in a week, but say my appointment's not till Friday and it's Tuesday, and I'm struggling today, and that's just going to bring a lot of discouragement, and they're going to say, oh, heck with it. I'll cheat today. I can go back on tomorrow, and then you come tomorrow, like, I'll cheat today. So that by being available, they know there's more accountability to themselves by being able to reach out to me.
So is this a structured program? Is it flexible, or is it customized to what the client wants?
Well, it's not so much what the client wants, because what the client may want would be pastries. What I'm trying to do is say, okay, this is what you want. Here's a good alternative. So it is customized to the individual as to a food plan. And if you've got a job where you're visiting, you're a salesperson and you're making calls all day long. Well, this is where you can eat. This is the type of lunch you can eat, stop to eat, or if you can't stop to eat, here's what you can throw in a little cooler and have with you.
Can you give us one thing that a person can do that would make an impact on them? It can be as far as their diet, as far as their exercise, as far as their mindset. Holistically, what is one thing that someone can do where it's not a huge change, but it's a change significant enough to create a result?
One thing is, as I find, most of the people are pretty sedentary. And so what I like to start out with, let's do a walking program. And being that I live in Las Vegas right now, with the temperatures we're having, that's something very difficult. So let's find a time of day that it's safer for you to be walking, or go to a mall and walk circles or whatever. Or if you live in a 2-story house, do your steps more. And because I also do teach yoga, so often they say, well, I can't get up from the floor. Well, I've geared my place so that I have tools to help them with that. And then from there, then I would move them into maybe a weightlifting program so that the exercise fits their level where they're at, but they can see results happening.
That's interesting that you said that, because when you said yoga, that's not something that's not a thought I would come in mind when I'm thinking of someone who's 50 pounds or more overweight. And you said to build strength and flexibility, which makes perfect sense. But is this something that people are seeking out, that type of yoga, or are you introducing that fact that it is possible for you, even if you aren't a size 6 or 8 or whatever?
Well, that's what I'm advocating, because when you see these programs like The Biggest Loser and that, they have these people lifting weight and stuff like that, and the coach has to be right there. It's a very difficult thing to do for the average person, where yoga is much more gentle on your body. And if you've got specific issues, like you've got low back issues or you've got bad knees, I work around that. And it's actually, people don't think of yoga as a way to lose weight, but it actually can. You know, you're doing it simple, easy movements, but you don't realize until like an hour class is thought, I've really put my body through a workout.
And then that's really good to know. I spoke with someone a few weeks ago that lost over 100 pounds, and her primary exercise was boxing. And so what I'm finding is that it's not just what you see on TV. It seems so limiting. Expanding into yoga, that just seems like an incredible option for someone who's perhaps tried everything else. What would you say would hold someone back, or what would be a pitfall once they started that they need to be on the lookout for?
Well, a pitfall is eating just before you go to bed, that type of thing. You have to be cognizant of when you eat, how you feel when you're eating it, and then, okay, how do you feel an hour or two afterwards? And that deals with the emotional side of eating, which so many people have a problem with.
Would you say that your process has changed a great deal from when you said it was a few years ago that you lost over 30 pounds, from the point that you were going through a process where you had to have the shifts in mindsets and the shifts in your day-to-day activity? Was it extreme for you, and is that what you practice, or is that what you coach in today? Or was it a gradual process, and how has that made a difference?
A lot of it, for me, was gradual, and it's still a continual process that I still look at those sticky buns and I go, ooh, that looks really good. This would be a better alternative. I like the flavor of this, too. Like, one of my things right now is I eat frozen blueberries, and that I use as my ice cream. They're sweet, they're cold, and I eat one or two with a spoon, so it takes me a while to eat them. But yet I get that ice cream satisfaction out of it.
That is very creative. I think that's one of the other issues that during my research that I found also, is that people are stuck in their ways. They go to the grocery store, they know exactly what they're going to get. It's the same thing over and over again, and they really don't know what the alternatives are. Or if they do want to eat healthy and they go get a lettuce, they think iceberg lettuce. They don't think of the extent of a salad and the different ways it can be done. The lack of creativity, is that normal? Is that what you're experiencing too? Or is it just, it's not something that's promoted much?
That's why one of the components of my program is I take them grocery shopping and show them, here's some good choices for food, so that they learn there's alternative foods. Like with myself, I'm learning, oh, I love to have spinach salad. So you learn that there's good alternatives. There's more variety out there than you really realize. We grow up, and that's what we're used to. Those are the foods we're used to using, so those are the foods we buy.
So you're giving people the experience of actually going out, knowing what to look for, and saying you might have only thought of using it this way, but you can use kale this way. You said components of your program. Do you have a structured program, or are you referring to the customization that you do for each of your clients?
Well, there's customization with each client, but there is a structure. Like someone that goes for a year program, they will have a quarter consultation of 2 to 3 hours, talking about what's working, what's not working. Well, let's set our goals for the next 3 months. And then each week they get like a 25-minute consultation, and that can be by phone or meeting. One thing I also offer is I will go out to a restaurant with them and help them learn how to order off of a menu so they can eat healthier, that they don't eat the French fries.
You said that someone might want to start walking just to get moving out of a sedentary lifestyle, or if they're not sedentary, perhaps just forming a new routine. You had a mental mind shift, and I'm sure there were many. But what would you say is one thing that someone who's struggling with obesity needs to consider that they might want to think about in a different way?
Relationship to sugar. I used to pour a bowl of cereal, and I'd put 3 or 4 teaspoons of sugar on it. Through starting to realize taste, I found now I don't even like sweet. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey, because what you're doing is you're learning to eat in a totally different way so that you're getting a better quality to your life.
So would you say that the mind shift would be that this isn't something you do once or twice to lose X amount of pounds, that this is a lifestyle journey?
It's a lifestyle journey. You're learning to make these shifts in your life to make it lasting.
Okay, so you still set goals, but you're not looking for the quick fix. They're going on this lifestyle journey, and it's changes that will be integrated into your life. So the shifts that are made create lasting change, create better health long term, and it's really a choice of wellness over where they're currently at.
Right. It's a choice of wellness versus weight loss. Once you get to the point where you're realizing what you're eating, then you start measuring quantities so that you learn about portion control. Part of their journey was cutting down on the number of calories.
It sounds like you have a well-rounded program, and you've really focused on the importance of having a support system. It sounds like that's a really big part of your program. If someone wants to get help, or if someone wants more information about what it is you do and how you can help them, how would they contact you?
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.